I have the privilege of being around some amazingly creative people, and I have 3 of those people with me today. But one of the things I recognize is that sometimes it's a struggle and a disconnect between creativity and the actual business. And so we're gonna break that conversation down today. We've got Winsong, we've got Tyler Figueroa, and we've got Tamika Jackson coming at you right now. It's gonna be an amazing conversation. I'm really excited about this conversation, actually. Mainly because, let me tell you why. Well, there's a few reasons. But one is because we get to turn the camera the opposite direction, because you guys are always behind the cameras, not just for this, but for so many different things. And I think I want to pick your brains today. Because I think that I think that creatives are extremely special people. Yeah. Some of that is good. Some of that we can talk about. But I think you guys are super special, and I think that we're kind of living in this age where people are exploring that more. And I think there's a lot of entrepreneurial endeavors that come out of being a creative. But okay, here's where we start. But I think one of the struggles that I'm seeing is that there are a lot of people that are really creative but are not great at business and are launching out there because of their creativity, but don't really have the business acumen to maintain what they've launched out into. And so I want to just kind of ask you guys, what's been your experience with merging creativity and business? How has that been going for you guys?
Bad.
Somebody gotta have a good one.
It's terrible. It's actually the worst.
Not the anti-expected, but I love it.
No, it is.
Why?
Because I don't know how to do business. I've never done it, number one, and then after graduating school, you kind of just taught to apply for a job. You need to build that yourself.
Yeah.
There's just still some things that I think that people talk about now, as far as promoting and stuff like that, that I'm I just want to create. It's going back.
What about you guys?
No, I could definitely agree with Tamika on that, because I'm the same way. I as a photographer, I only want to just shoot the photos and just post it and stuff like that. I don't want to be pitching ideas hey, you should hire me. I just want people to see it and be oh, I like what you do. Yeah. So here, but I know in the day and age, that's not how it works. You really have to put yourself out there and be hungry for it, because nobody's gonna really give it to you. But so I find myself trying to learn the business of pitching and promoting, even on days when I don't want to or don't feel like stuff like that.
But I think for me, that's the value of collaborative partnerships, right? Because I think sometimes we're stepping into areas that we either one, don't have the desire to do, kind of like what you said, or really I don't have the ability to do that. I am a photographer. I want to take pictures, right? I don't want to do the accounting, right? I don't want to send out invoices. That's not the stuff that I want to do. And I think that we have to kind of do a better job at looking at other people's skill set within our circles and saying, hey, I got an amazing idea, but I need the business acumen to support this. What is it that you can bring to the table, instead of us trying to force ourselves into a space that we really know that we don't even thrive in, Yeah. So what's your story?
Oh man,
You've done it all.
Yeah.
And are doing it all.
For me, I realized that in different seasons, there are times where I'm more of a director than I am someone that's behind the camera, or I'm more of I build out the plans and then I just give it to other people to do. So for me, it's a bunch of trial and error. And I think at this point, I found what it is. And so I'm not gonna try to do the things that I was doing 2 years ago. I found someone to do that. So that's where I'm at.
I found someone to do that.
I found somebody
to do that.
No,
but I think that's the part that I think is the discouraging part for a lot of people, right?
Yeah,
that trial and error thing.
It's depressing. Hello.
Right? Because I think so. Here's what I like. I like the way you phrase that, right? Because you said trial and error, and I think that we think that error is the same thing as failure. They're not synonyms, right? An error is, hey, I tried something and I need to tweak something in order to make it, better or to make it more successful or to, to make it more solid. Failure is like, it's the end of a thing. Like I tried it and it's over, I'm done, and there's no opportunity for success. And I think that we have taken some of the things that really were supposed to be designed to build us and to mature us and to shape us and to help us think innovatively and creatively, and we've called those things failures when they actually were just, I made an error,
Right.
but I can recalculate and regroup and really create something that's better. I get that.
When fear comes up, that's how I know, like, I'm supposed to be doing it. Oh God, it literally will grip me. Like, no, and it also depends on like the how big the actual idea or dream is. So I feel like with me, it's always been easy to do it for other people. But as you said, like as far as like my business, if I wanted to like do something creative for myself, like I'm like but I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's also something that I know like the Lord has already spoken to me about.
Yeah.
Cause that's real. That's real. I feel like creating for yourself is so much harder because like you have all these ideas, but like when it comes to other people, like if when he says, "Hey, bro, I have an idea for a photo shoot," like we could literally plan it out, the whole thing out. But she's like, "Bro, like, when you gonna do another video?" I'm like, bro, like it's dry. I'm like, it's like it's just a dry spell. But like when working with other people, it's like I feel like my ideas flourish the most, and it's not necessarily like I'm forgetting myself, but it's like I just feel like for helping other people, that's when my ideas really start to like skyrocket and like just flourish.
Do you think that's birthed from passion for others or insecurity in self?
I would say before it would be insecurity.
It's this body movement over here.
I would say before it be insecurity. I feel like in this season, like God is really showing out and showing me things that where I felt like I was forgotten.
So off God.
Right, like where I felt like I was forgotten. He's like, let me show you something.
Yeah.
Like, let me show you that you're not forgotten. Let me bring people into your circle that will show you I see you. Even when I'm like, God, do you hear me? I'm like, he's like, here's, I'm gonna send this person and they're gonna show you. And then also like, I think just for me is like not taking the time to sit down and be like, what do I want to do? Because I don't want to be someone that just creating stuff just to create it.
Yep.
I want to like when I create something, it's meaningful and has impact, not just because I want to post something.
We are in the information age. Literally, whatever you need is at your disposal, and the traditional methods of education exist, but they are coupled with some very non-traditional methods. And so there's so much that can be learned literally online through videos, through Instagram, connecting with people there. I think that I've always believed that relationships are the greatest teachers. And so I think to connect with people who are actually already in the industry, you don't actually even have to leave your house in order to do that. And so, but I do think that it requires a level of boldness, right? That I'm willing to put myself out there. I'm willing to ask questions to people maybe that I don't even know. You got to just put yourself out there, otherwise it will never happen. I think the other aspect of that is there are some non-traditional methods to get this done. The people that I'm talking to right now in this video, they've sharpened their skills through the church, right? And so it doesn't have to look like what you thought it was going to look like. It doesn't have to look like a film academy, but it could be literally helping your local church do maybe what they don't even do. What's maybe little known is that prior to the pandemic, this church didn't even have a camera. Hello? It wasn't what we were doing. And so many of these people developed their skill as a result of necessity. It wasn't because they were so creative. It was because their church needed them. And as a result, they discovered that they had something in them that the Lord had to pull out of them. And so he'll do that if you let him. I want to pivot a little bit because I had something happen yesterday. And I'm like, I want to know how you guys deal with this. So, well, the immediate thing happened yesterday, but I've been seeing it over some time. So I've been, this is one of the ventures that I've decided to do. You guys have come on board and helped me, and I'm grateful for you guys.
Super dope.
But since then, like we've been posting little clips on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Since then, I have seen several people doing the exact same thing.
Yo.
All right.
Yo, son.
We're gonna get with it. We're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
I've seen several people doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, and it was confirmed that one person literally saw it, didn't say nothing to me, didn't say, "Man, I'm inspired. Let me run and do the same thing." Like, just at least acknowledge it.
Right.
Just did it. Didn't acknowledge it. Didn't say, "Yo, you're doing something dope, and I'm inspired, and I'm going to do it." Didn't say a word. How have you been dealing with?
Didn't we have a conversation
Yo, we
about
had
this?
this conversation.
How do you deal with this creative things that come to you that you are like, man, this is a dope idea. You start working on it, and then before you know it, somebody else is doing the exact same, and you know, because there's nothing new under the sun. Right. So, okay, cool. Somebody else is going to do something similar to what you're doing.
Yes.
But when you know that it directly has come from you, but you've got no credit for it, and I know that each of you has experienced this in some way before. How do you deal with it? Talk to me, pun intended.
Oh, man.
Ooh, y'all tight.
Yo.
All right.
Y'all tight.
You go.
Give me the real answer too, because
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm struggling a little bit myself.
So
Now, while you
a
think on that, I
different-
want to say this. Okay, you might be saying what I'm about to say. So now, mind you, I actually am okay. I think that imitation is the highest form of flattery. I do believe that. And so I'm not one of these people that feels like nobody else can do what you're doing.
Right.
My problem is when you don't at least acknowledge that, yo,
that
man,
part.
you did something really dope. The shirt you made was dope, and it inspired me to create something. Like, thank you for that. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking you not to do your shirt. I'm saying just say, good job. I
Yeah,
respect what you're
exactly.
doing. I'm about to do something
Right.
too.
Not just watching me.
Yeah. Not just watching the jacket. You was about to say
Yeah.
something.
yeah. So I want to. Okay. So it's two things.
I kind of have this name that I'm an influencer's influence.
Love it.
And so,
Love it.
even before I understood what I was
I like it.
as a child, I could show up to school with a blazer with paint on it, and next week, the entire school's doing it. And I'm like, this is so cool. And I never felt the way. I was just like, you set trends. This is what you do. This is what my life has been. But it hasn't been until I worked with other influencers. I give them the juice and the sauce to their things, and they don't credit me. And
Yeah.
I would be like, you're taking off, and you didn't even say, hey, this is all win.
Yeah.
And I used to struggle with that, but I don't struggle with that anymore because I'm not looking for those things to validate me anymore.
Yeah.
So,
I think
if I
that's
get
good.
the credit or not, I know what I did.
I think that's good. I'm gonna challenge that just a little bit because normally I would probably be with you, like, hey guys, but I think when it's your livelihood, when this is how I make money, this is business, right? This is not just some nice project that, that I'm doing for enjoyment and pleasure. And so when you now literally have taken
The whole idea.
what I've given you, you literally have stolen from me. Because really, you should have paid me for the information that I gave you. That's different. That's different, Saints.
Yo.
That's different, Saints.
I tell you.
Run me
Yo.
my money.
Run me my money. That's it. Hello.
Sorry, I know I just put a little spin on it,
No,
but
because we have this conversation
We
all
have
the
it consistently.
time.
Yeah.
Like, I tell her all the time, like, people will pick your brain, and it's not like, oh, like, hey, I have this idea. Like, at least if they come with the plan, right? But when you're, like, literally milking my brain for every creative, like, every just creative.
Saints, that's called a consultation.
Yes.
And
I
you
know
pay
that
for
now.
consultations. Yeah,
know
let's
that
talk
now.
about
Right,
it.
because like I feel like people now, especially in this field, what I've come to see is like, and people will like pick your brain and like use it as a Pinterest board and like build their own thing.
Wow.
And then
Jeez.
Use your brain
and
as
then,
an interest board.
and then slap their name on it and not even be like, I was creatively inspired by this person and then they helped me do that. It's like, yeah, I was thinking and like I was in my room and it just came to me.
Holy Spirit came down.
Like instead of like, you know, I spoke with Tamika and she actually helped me.
Yep.
She technically creative directed it, and I just put it in play. Versus like, but I also feel like in this field, everybody's doing the same thing, but nobody knows how to make it individually for themselves.
That is good. That's good. Because, no, seriously, that's so good because, oh man, where do I begin? Like, I've literally, and I really feel like it's the Lord that had given me ideas that I also, like, let's say he gave it to me yesterday, like the next day I'll talk to somebody and they literally have the same idea. And I'm like, no. Why? Like, why? Or like, there will be ideas, oh God, especially like with music videos and stuff like that I'll have. Literally, and I'll talk to maybe one person about it, and all of a sudden the celebrity's doing the same exact, like they just came out with the same exact concept, and I've never seen it before. And it used to frustrate me because I used to feel like, oh man, like, Lord, am I moving really slow? Like, am I just too slow? I'm not like acting quick enough on the ideas that you're giving me, that it's like when it comes out, like by the time I actually do it, it's already too late. But then I recorded this podcast for someone and they were talking directly about this, and they were like, sometimes like God is not just giving you one specific idea. He's giving multiple people because of wherever, you know, whoever we're in reach to, it's gonna reach those people. So recently I've taken a turn, because even with like comments, I've actually seen, you know what, a lot come up out of nowhere, and I'm like, whoa, hello, like a lot of people are doing this right now. Where I've, to your point, in the end of just like, how do I make this thing that I've gotten me, and not exactly that? That's, But then also, okay, this is the last. When I was building my craft, I used to look at other people's stuff and literally do the exact same thing. So like, as far as pictures go, right? So I'll see like inspo of a picture, and I'm like, oh, I'm about to do that, and copy it, right, and put it out, and then I'll get a whole bunch of like, oh, that's dope, and like, I know it, like, you know. But at the same time, like, those people that I took that idea from, they're like already famous. So I'm like, what I ain't got to tell you where I got it from, but like, you know, so I don't know. I feel like you should give credit where it's due. Oh God!
I think you should give credit where it's due.
I've been in a situation where I've literally given a consultation, and the person literally took everything that I said and boom, blew up. Literally, and I watched it, and it wasn't until I wasn't offended at first, but it wasn't until someone else like pointed it out, like, yo, you like really helped, da da da, and I was like, I did.
I did do that.
Like, you didn't even like ask me to be a part. Like, hello, like, you know, like, dang, like, it was just a take and a go. I was like, all right.
Go ahead.
I have a question. Cause like, when we go grocery shopping, right, and we go to the bread aisle, it's mad different breads.
Mad different bread.
I don't know the names of the breads. But I don't think the wheat bread is worried about the white bread. It's still the same bread.
But I think they are worried about each other, right? Pepsi is worried about Coke to the point where they will slander them in a commercial, like it's less than, right? And so I think, so to your point, I think there's room for all, right? Because Pepsi is successful, Coke is successful, RC Cola is successful, Pathmark brand cola, they're all successful, right? But I think what's important is what Tyler was saying, which is that each of those tastes slightly different. They're not carbon copies of one another. You don't open a can of Coke and like, I don't know if this is Coke or Pepsi. You know a Coke is a Coke and you know a Pepsi is a Pepsi. They're both cola. They're very similar, but there's something that's a little bit different about this one. My concern is that I see people like that don't have a difference in the ingredients. They're the exact same ingredients. It's a knockoff of the original. And I think that anything that's a copy is always a diminished version of the original, right? Like if we take a piece of paper and we put it on a copy machine, whatever comes out of that printer, it is a replica of the original, but it's not the same. It's grainier. There's little dots just on the page. There's different things that shouldn't be there, blemishes that shouldn't be there. And I think that we've got to do a better job as creatives of saying, hey, what is my original thing? It doesn't mean that nobody's ever created cola before. But this can't taste just like Pepsi. Because if it tastes just like Pepsi, I owe Pepsi money.
Right.
And
And at this point,
Like,
they owe you money.
they owe me money. And but that's a business thing. Because if literally they have to change something. Because if it's identical, that stuff is patented. Right? Like the recipe, the government it's already registered. And if you now take this and duplicate it and put it in a different can, I can sue you for that. And I think that when you're on like the startup, the come up, it's like we overlook some things that in the business world, you get sued for that.
Yeah.
So let this be your warning. Don't get sued.
No, wait, I have a question.
Oh, that's a shirt. Don't get sued. Don't get sued.
Look at you, creative.
It's
Everything
mine.
is something.
Hello.
Don't y'all take that.
First. You know, how do you protect your ideas if they're just ideas and they're not physical yet?
Ooh, I got it. Pick me.
That's actually really good.
Pick me. You protect your ideas by never giving them away for free.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
Wow.
This is a
Wow.
business.
You did a thing.
This is a business. And so, when you're booking a consultation with me, there's a price for the consultation. Because I know that I'm about to give you something that costs something. There's a value to what I'm giving to you. And so I'm not giving you a consultation. And then here's the other thing. Even that, I'm not giving you everything in the consultation. I'm gonna give you a brief overview of some things, but if you really want the details of the ingredients in this, you're gonna have to go to the next tier. You have to level up and pay me for real for what it is that I'm going to produce to you. And then I don't care that you took it, because you didn't take it, I gave it to you. You bought it, but you're not just gonna keep taking from me. That's what you're not gonna, and I feel like, again, because I pastor a church full of creatives, I've seen it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with, especially when you're first starting, with giving some things away for free, like sowing. I believe in sowing, because you're gonna reap what you sow. I believe in that. I'm not even talking about that. But I'm talking about people that really start to take advantage, like you said, like using your brain, sitting down, knowing that you have a business. Knowing that you have a business, but I just need to ask you a question real quick.
Right.
No.
And it always
And I done
starts with
sat
that.
here for 45 minutes with you, and you done took all my ideas and then ran and paid somebody else to produce what I gave you.
Oh,
We never gonna do that. Flip it, Jesus did.
Right.
I'm reminded of the story of Joseph, and I will say this: I'm not the preacher who blames Joseph for his situation. You will not hear me say that. But what I will say is that Joseph told his dream to people who didn't need his dream. There actually wasn't a purpose in actually releasing that information to them, because there was nothing that they could actually do to support his dream. I think your why matters. When releasing information, when releasing strategies, when releasing business ideas, why am I giving this information to this person? What is it that they've been called to contribute to this specific thing that requires me to tell them what it is that I am trying to tell them? And so I think that it's not necessarily about the idea as much as it is, did the Lord speak about this person being a part of what it is that he has called me to do? Because there are some things that he is calling you to do. And I think sometimes we're releasing information to people because we need approval. Other times we are releasing information to people because we need somebody to help give us courage. All of that comes from the Holy Spirit. If I am doing it for the purposes of me feeling better about myself, I can keep my mouth closed, and I need to pray and talk to the Lord about that thing. But anybody else who I'm speaking to about it is because the Lord is giving them strategy to help me with what he's trying to give me, get me to birth. That's the business aspect that I'm talking about, that I feel like sometimes is lacking in the creative environment. Is because you guys are so free with your ideas. They flow freely. You give them freely. But it's a no, because at the end of the day, if I keep giving away these ideas freely, I'm going to be a nurse.
I'm gonna stick the people around.
I'm going to be a nurse. right?
Oh,
No
I
shade to
can't-
people that are nurses.
Yeah, no
though.
shade to that,
We
but
need
that's not
you.
what I'm
No
signing up
shade.
for. That's
can't
not
do
what I
it.
signed up for.
not
I'm
my
giving
lifestyle.
away my information, and now I can't pay my bills, so I have to go get a job that's not creative.
You know what's crazy though? I used to be scared
go
to
under
tell
the
people,
table.
I'm like, you gotta pay me for this idea.
Oh no, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be like, what number?
I'm
and
there
I
too.
always go,
Yeah, always come down.
Yeah, it's
You,
like-
But at
you and
this
I have
point-
talked about this.
Yo,
too.
yeah, I don't even want to. Get me out of here.
at this point, I'm okay with being like, yeah, we're not.
My number is my
Because
number.
it's so you're so passionate about
Yeah.
like creating this. Like I don't want to.
I
I
don't
don't
lose
ever
the
want to
opportunity.
lose the opportunity to
Yeah.
create.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put a like.
But here's the thing.
Yo,
As a creative, you can't lose an opportunity to create because that's what you do. And so whether it's for you or somebody else, I will always have the opportunity to create. I'm never going to lose the opportunity to create. I might lose the opportunity to do business with you,
Right.
Yeah.
but I will never lose the opportunity to create.
God.
I don't know why I'm stirred up on
Oh
this.
my God,
but-
me too. It's the crap.
Yeah.
Nigga, no.
You ordered that just for that, didn't you? Just so I could do that.
Creative, okay?
Here's the thing, newsflash. Creatives need to create. Creatives need to create. The moment that you box them in, you actually literally limit their creativity. And so I don't come in the room and tell a creative what to do. I come in the room and I ask the creative what's in your mind. Because what's in their mind can be shaped, it can be molded, and that's not just for the church. I want to say this. I think any good leader understands that the influence that is in the church must be spilled outside of the church. Otherwise, you just continue to have the same circle of people. And so ministry is not about four walls. Ministry is about the entire world. And so you're training people. This is really our motto. We train people literally for the purposes of going outhouse to do what it is that they do. The thing that I've learned, listen up, pastors and leaders, the thing that I've learned is that if you train them well, and if you actually let them see that you trust them and they see that you actually care about them as a person, you never have to worry about them not bringing those same gifts back to the Lord. You will never have to worry about them bringing those same gifts back to the Lord. And so we've got people around here who are amazing singers and producers and dancers and artists and writers, and they do all of these things outside of the church, but we don't have to beg them to come back to the church to give the Lord what he gave to them. And so let them go. They will explore, they will do all the things that the Lord has called them to do, but they will come back. Don't ever worry about, will I get the opportunity to create? And then I also think, if you don't see the value in you, neither will I.
And you, yo,
That's just
yo,
the best.
Right.
Like,
It was really good. But goodbye.
oh my
Like-
Lord. But it's like you always say, like, people treat you how you
That's the part.
how you see yourself.
That's it.
Right? So it's like, even with like, for example, like even if like somebody asks me like, what's your price? And I'm like, it's like, they're like,
That's
oh, well,
the thing.
they're like,
Yeah.
because you're not confident. If you're not confident in your pricing, how are you going to be confident in
Absolutely.
the project versus like, this is my number and like breaking it down? Because a lot of times people do test you like, so what does that number include?
Yeah.
This is what you're getting, boom, 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 boom. And once you're confident and they're like, oh, okay, I can trust you with
Yep.
this project and this number, and you're not just
Absolutely.
robbing
And
me.
think about this. Why is it that certain people, nobody ever asks them to do anything free? There are certain people that if they walked in this door, you would not ask them for free advisement. Because you already know there's a standard, there's a benchmark, we already know they come with a certain thing that I know that if I step to you with a question, I gotta be prepared to invest in you.
Yep.
That's the only way that I'm gonna get an answer. That is only done because that person has presented themselves in a way that says, I demand respect.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that's the other thing. Oh God, that's the other thing. Sometimes you're not pricing just for your pockets, you're pricing for respect. Because people pay for what they value. Right? And so that's not just about me being money hungry. Yeah. It's about I charge a nominal amount of money to counsel people who are outside of our church, right? People in church I counsel for free. But outside of church, it's a small amount of money. Like, it's nothing compared to what you would pay on the outside. The only reason why I charge that is so that I get your respect, so that you don't play with my time.
Right, yeah.
Because my time is valuable. I'm not counseling people to get paid. I'm not counseling people for money. Right. I'm only getting paid so that you value the time that I've committed to you. And so sometimes that's the reason why you're charging, because I need you to know, I need you to show up on time. I need you to don't cancel at the last minute. Because my time is valuable. And so I'm going to charge you just so that you know that I'm valuable. Am I ruining your life? You look like I'm ruining your life.
You're ruining my life.
It's a thing, guys.
Because it's
Yeah.
Because my time is literally valuable. And when I say that, I don't even necessarily mean because I could be doing another project.
Right.
I could be playing with my kids. I could be spending time with my husband. I could spend time with my wife. I could spend time with my friends. That's all valuable. And every time that I'm doing work somewhere else, it takes away from something else. There's a value to that. Even if it's just spending time with my family, there's a value to that. And so don't diminish me by not honoring that. And so one way to make you honor it is to make sure that you pay. You gonna pay. Anyway.
Run me my check.
Run me.
You're going to pay.
Tell me this. I want to kind of close with this. Tell me y'all want more?
Right, I like it. This is good conversation.
It's a good conversation.
Can you let me know, each of you, what is the greatest thing about being a creative? And then let me know, what is the worst thing or the hardest thing about being a creative? I think I want to go clockwise.
The greatest thing about being creative for me is the storytelling aspect. Like, I love stories. And then it's more specific to like people's like lives and like how they get to where they get to, and just like, it's just interesting like to hear different perspectives, and I feel like I grow from that. So it's like the best thing is to like be able to create, watch and learn. It's like it's like the school that I just wish that I would have just been in for the rest of, like, hello, like, this is, enroll me here and I'll stay here forever. That's the greatest. And then the worst now, editing. I feel like I'm making time for the worst thing about being a creative.
That didn't take long.
The worst thing about being creative is coming back to reality. Back to reality.
Elaborate on that.
Like, I feel like, okay, the best way I could put it is like, you're playing in the dollhouse all day. At some point, you have to like come out and eat. You have to come out and talk to people. You have to come out and like be a person and like be real, like be in tune with reality. Is really, well, for me, it's really hard as a creative to do that. Because it's like, I'm so busy, my mind is so busy, like on the next idea, dreaming and thinking about these things, where it's like, you gotta pay your bill.
That's
you
really
gotta do
interesting
things.
to me, because I wonder, that makes me question how many creatives are creating to escape reality.
But that's a real
We're done.
thing.
It's over.
That's a real thing, though.
I think that's a real thing.
Like, people use art as a form of therapy.
Yeah.
Like, they use, like, I think a painting, like, when people paint, like, sometimes, like, I think even, like, in therapy sessions where they be like, look at this picture, tell me what you feel. Right? I feel like even with that, like, people use music to escape. People use art to escape because of, like, let's be honest, this world is, like, brutal. So it's like using that form of, instead of doing the negative stuff like drugs and alcohol, I'm using a medium to express myself and express how I feel.
Jesus.
And then sometimes it just pivots into profit because people are like, wow, I really like what you did. And then you're like,
Come on with it.
I think that's why a lot of, I'll speak for myself. I think that's why sometimes I get tripped up on not knowing how to charge people, because it's like, I don't do it. I do it for as a form of therapy.
Yeah.
But I also do it because I just love to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't like, even if I wasn't getting paid for it, I would still do it.
How do you charge for what you love?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you
Oh,
charge
that's
for
really
what
good.
you love?
Oh, that's really good to me.
How do you charge
I
for
get
what
that.
you love?
I get that. I get that. I
That's
get
a
that.
struggle.
Sorry, that hit me because I get that. Yep.
I'm stressed.
That's like me as a preacher. As a preacher, like people are like, "What's your honorarium?" I don't have one.
Because you just like seeing people.
Yeah.
You know,
I just want to preach the word,
you know,
and I pray you do right by me.
right.
Yo.
That's really good. That blessed me.
Yo.
Yeah.
Okay, you're up.
That's the part.
Oh, man. I would say like the best part of being a creative is creating, but also meeting new creatives, like in different fields. Like
Yeah.
I feel like since I've like delved into like the business side of it, I've met like fashion designers, influencers, like people in different fields, and I'm just like, wow, like there are actually people being successful and thriving and like thriving, and like it's not even like just thriving, but seeing like black people like being creative and thriving.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
It's like,
Immediately.
The industry.
Yeah.
yo,
Too many.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
We need black.
and it's like, and we talked about
'Cause
this too.
y'all
And,
already know, 'cause-
like that's always blesses me. I would say the worst. I wouldn't even say the worst. It's not necessarily the worst, but like the negative impact of being a creative is like going back to a 9 to 5. Like, if I had it my way, I would be creating every day, 365 days out the year. But like you said, coming out the dollhouse, like having to go clocking back to a work that I don't want to do, and knowing that that's not what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And also waiting for the time, for the exit where it's like I can do this full time.
Yeah.
Versus just like quitting just because like I know that's not what I'm supposed to. Because sometimes I'm supposed to be learning something from this that just hasn't happened yet. So
Yep.
like, I would say that's the worst part.
That's
the
strong.
worst part.
I love it. Last but not least.
Okay. I think, actually, I know now that the best part of being a creative is plugging back into the highest source of creativity, which is the Lord. And I know it might sound cliche or churchy, but like before I used to plug into me and I'll burn out. Or I'll be like, I can only do but so much.
Yeah.
But he created the heavens, the earth. He created me, you, everybody. So he don't run out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so plugging back into him and just finding the beauty in that, and then what then comes from that. Just like, oh, our relationship is so cool because we get to talk about something creative and all the things, right? And then I think the worst part is having to articulate what I experienced with him to other people, and they don't get it. And I'm just like, dang, bro. Like, I really love this. Like, it's not clicking, it's not matching. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do, but I think really just trying to find words to like explain to other people like what it is. It gets kind of frustrating because they're like, but what do you do? Like, and it's just like, I do it
I hate
all.
the what do you do questions.
Like,
when you
it's
do
so
that.
annoying. Like, how do you, I don't know. I'm learning as I go. But that's it. And then even the whole going back to a 9 to 5 that I know I don't want to be at. It's just like, child.
I think
it's
my
a
hope and my prayer for you guys is that one day that's not your reality. You know, that really that you'll be released to be free to create all that you desire and are destined to complete. But I appreciate you guys big time, really specifically for your sacrifice for this, not in front of the camera, but I mean, yeah, in front of the camera, but behind the camera. You guys have been working a lot of days to make sure that this gets done. It doesn't get overlooked by me at all. It doesn't get overlooked by me. And I will say this, what you sow, you will reap. And so in front of everybody who watches this, keep looking for them because you'll see what they reap soon. Love y'all. Appreciate you.
Love you too.
Thanks for watching this episode of Talk to Me, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss a single thing, and we will catch you at the next talk.